Inflation Vacation is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. To enter the keywords and learn more, head to KFAN.com. Inflation Vacation is powered by 2 men and a truck.
Here comes Michael Russo, covers the Minnesota Wild for The Athletic and TheAthletic.com, at Russo Hockey via Twitter. And what season is this for you covering hockey?
30 covering hockey, 20 covering here the Wild, yeah.
What do you still enjoy about covering not only the Wild, but this job in general?
I mean, covering hockey, I mean, it sounds trite, but the reality is this is why, I've had ample opportunities to cover other sports, but this is by far my favorite. I think the sport I know the most about, I think some fans would probably disagree, but it's just, I mean, just dealing with these players on an everyday basis, they're just always to me the greatest athletes to deal with. Just running into players on the street sometimes, it's just a totally different type of thing. It's a different relationship when you cover the sport and you're able to write, especially covering this team because their PR department's so good. You get to write these personality profiles because you get so much access.
Yeah,
this is a big market from a media standpoint, but the Wild give us incredible access to these guys. One-on-ones anytime we want it with any player. It doesn't matter how if it's Kaprizov or the seventh defenseman. It's just it's always been a pleasure covering the NHL.
Well, where I wholeheartedly could agree with that is having worked in this market and done a sports radio show, stuff like that. Worked with a football team as long as I have. It's when I first met J.J. McCarthy, the rookie quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep.
All right, now this
hockey fanatic.
Well, this was I'm not going to say he was NHL bound or like full scholarship for the Michigan Wolverines playing hockey, but he was a high-end hockey player. He was really good.
Yep.
And he was also a very good football player. And then his family decided into his freshman year, we don't want a chance being good at both. We want to be great at one. So he went strictly the football route. Now, when I first met JJ, once a hockey guy, always a hockey guy. Firm handshake, looks you in the eyes, follows up, things that you say, like he's interested and just engaging. And quite honestly, that's not the case with a lot of athletes in a lot of sports, including, a lot of people in hockey. But man, from having, I can go all the way back to Andrew Brunette Weekly, Mark Parrish, Mike Yo, all these coaches, so on. It's just once off what you said about covering hockey players, hockey people, they're just different and more appreciative and more down to earth, generally speaking, than most athletes that I've met in other sports. Yeah,
and they're really just open in terms of letting their personality shine when you sit down with them and do stories. And that's look who the first player is on the ice is
Kaprizov.
Here, well in advance of the morning skate, 20 minutes before the morning skate. Kaprizov is on there, and I ran into him last night too, and he was out till 9 something. So he's a pro. But to be fair on the other sports though, like during the 2000, in the 90s, I did cover every sport. Covered everything from University of Miami to the Marlins, the Dolphins, the Heat, and obviously the Panthers. And during the 2005 lockout, I covered the Dolphins, the Heat, and the Marlins, and I had a blast. I mean, I covered Shaq and D Wade, and they totally got it.
And Chris Bosh?
It
wasn't Bosh
it was,
yet.
Eddie Jones, Damon Jones, Leitner was on that team.
Oh wow,
he was the only guy I didn't like. Udonis Haslem was on that team, and then the Marlins.
Udonis Haslem's still on that bench.
Yeah, I loved every minute I was around the Marlins covering them. My favorite article that I did that year on the Marlins, I did a big Matt Trainer, Misty May story, and then just covering the Dolphins. Like I had a blast covering.
They
the
had
Dolphins.
A trainer named Misty May.
No.
I was going to say that sounds like somebody you meet at Spearmint Rhino and it sticks you 500.
No. So Misty May, the Olympian beach volleyball player.
Okay.
She's married to Matt Trainer, who was the backup catcher on that Marlin team. So I love doing stories like that.
Did you get Kevin Brown to talk? Because he was quiet, wasn't he?
Yeah. And then they had. Al Leiter and
the catcher they had catching Charles Johnson or whatever.
No, that would have been the '97 team.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
Catching catcher from University of Miami.
Wow.
Paul Lo Duca was on that '05 team, I believe. And then And then I had an absolute blast covering that Dolphins. Sage Rosenfels was on that team,
right?
And, Zach Thomas and Jason Taylor, and it was just it was tremendous.
I'm talking consistently over the years. Interaction, box in the box, getting to know coaches, having players on the radio. I'm just saying hockey players generally are the same, and they mostly are appreciative for a lot of things that some athletes in other sports aren't. Maybe because they're the fourth of four in generally speaking in a lot of metrics or a lot of analyzable things with pro sports. But speaking of hockey, Dean Evison returns with the Columbus Blue Jackets. And at The Athletic and theathletic.com, Michael wrote a fantastic story about the Evison return and embracing it and moving forward. For those, it dropped this morning. So for those who have yet to read it, what are some of the finer points?
Not to interject, but I mean, first four players on the ice right now: Marco Rossi, Matt Boldy, Joel Eriksson, and Kirill Kaprizov. I mean, to me, it kind of says it all. There's a lot in that Dean Evison story. It starts with a really funny anecdote of Dean, who was assistant coach for Team Canada at the World Championship, running into Bill Guerin, who is the United States Four Nations face-off and Olympic. He's going to be the Olympic GM with Mike Sullivan, who he's tapped as their coach in Prague during the World Championship in the Old Town Square. And as he notices Billy, he creeps up behind him and just happens to overhear Billy telling Mike Sullivan, explaining why he had to get rid of Dean at the time. And he goes, well, if you didn't fire your effing coach, you would have made the playoffs. And so it starts off with a really funny anecdote about Billy.
That's terrific.
About Billy going out to the street and embracing his family, and his mom, Sheila, who's in town for tonight's game, not wanting to give Billy a hug, and Billy just like, please give me a hug, and she goes, just this one time, and then proceeds to punch him in the nether region.
In the spot.
Yes. So you can tell the apple doesn't fall far from the tree there. And then it goes into really touching. I paint the scene of how Dean Evison found out that Johnny Gaudreau died, and him breaking down on this conversation with Don Waddell, their GM, because just a couple weeks before, the only player that Dean actually got on a plane to go visit was Johnny Gaudreau, and it was supposed to be lunch and a really quick chat. And they wound up sitting there for 2 hours talking about life and the team and family and all that stuff. And he left that conversation so high as a kite that he had this superstar that he was going to be able to have drive this Columbus team. And then obviously tragedy occurs just a couple of weeks later. And just, there's no roadmap on how a coach, especially going to a new team where he doesn't know the players and the staff, has to guide a team through such tragedy. And so he kind of paints that on how they're proceeding. They're bringing his jersey onto the road for every game. They're going to put in the stall that he would be in every road locker room. Obviously, tonight will be an emotional game for both teams because Johnny transcended just the Blue Jackets and the Calgary Flames. He was Johnny Hockey. He was the best American player, one of the best American players of all time, internationally, second to none, really, statistically. And everybody loved him. I happened to sit down with Johnny actually a year ago, last September 12th in Vegas for a long time, and he was just the nicest guy. And there's guys on this team, from John Hines, who coached him multiple times with international hockey, to Matt Boldy, who was on his line at this most recent World Championship, idolized him growing up as a BC kid, and assisted on Johnny's last goal, frankly, at the World Championship. It's going to be really tough for Matt tonight and going to Columbus next week when we're there as well. So really... and then the story transitions to just his emotions coming back into XL Energy Center tonight and how he wants to beat the heck out of the Wild. So it's a really complete story. I enjoyed writing it. That one, some stories are harder to write. Don't come out of your fingertips really easily. This one came out. I wrote it really quickly yesterday.
I mentioned it in the close of the interview with Wild coach John Hines. Just Evison's back, and you got so much on your plate that you can't really focus on what a coach is trying to get accomplished outside of what you think he's going to put out with his lines and schemes and things like that. But, is there a coaching point this evening for Hines and for the Wild? Like, look, they're going to play like this because of this. Evison is such a hard-nosed type player. Like you said, he wants to beat the bleep out of the team. I'm certainly not saying that they're going to instruct 09 NHL Bountygate and no, not that. But I mean, it's what do you think? What do you think they need to combat this evening if you're with the Wild?
See, I don't think that has anything to do with Dean. Dean won't mention it to his team. And
you're
John,
the third person to say that, so you're right.
Like from John Hines' perspective, I mean, and Dean Evason's perspective, this is what they get themselves into. I talked to you about this before. I always find it hilarious at these opening press conferences and all the cameras and the smiles and putting on the Wild jerseys, a new coach and the Wild hat, and you're in front of the Wild backdrop, knowing full well that in 3 or 4 years you're going to get sacked and hate everybody. That's just the nature that all coaches in all sports deal with.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
KOC is going to deal with that someday too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way. And right now he is the toast
and
of this
hate
town.
Everybody.
Right. And I mean, look at Mike Zimmer.
Yeah.
Freaking, he went after you.
I caught a stray on that.
Yeah,
thing,
I know.
didn't I?
So I mean, that's just the world that they live in. And the other thing with tonight being opening night. Dean has the Blue Jackets have enough to play for. Not just the emotions of this being the first game without Johnny Gaudreau and all that stuff that's going to go into it. But this team has, I wrote about it today. They're the worst team in the NHL by a mile.
Still?
Since they came into the league 24 years ago. They have the worst save percentage, the fewest wins, the fewest points. They've made the play. Wild fans think they have it bad here. This team's made the playoffs 6 times, been past the first round once.
Wow.
So
I thought with Tortorella they got scrappy and good there for a minute.
They went through. They swept. They swept the Tampa Bay Lightning.
That's right.
And
in the first round.
Yeah, and that was it. That's been their highlighted their entire franchise. And so they want to start anew here with a new coach. So I think. And the other thing is, even though the Wild have a 9-game point streak against the Blue Jackets. The Wild and the Blue Jackets are always hard games. The Blue Jackets always play the Wild well, whether it's home or away. And so I just think tonight there's going to be a lot of emotion going in this game, be it opening night where the Wild are elite, but also the fact that the Blue Jackets just come out. They're going to come out hard. This is a young team with a lot of really young talent, and the Wild can't take them lightly. I mean, they have a lot of guys that I think are going to be studs in this league for a long time. From Mike Johnson to Sillinger to Adam Fantilli to Juracek. I mean, they've got some great players.
Who's Boone Jenner?
Boone Jenner's their captain. Unfortunately, as excited as Dean Evason was to coach him, he has suffered what I'm told is a major injury in practice last week. So this isn't going to be a short-term injury, I don't think.
Okay. Michael Russo at Russo Hockey, athletic.com to follow his work. Wild and Columbus this evening. Sounds of Hockey here at Trier Rink. We are in Bill Guerin's general manager. We're on Bill Guerin's general manager perch, overlooking the players filter onto the ice to prepare.
And I stole some of his coffee.
You did?
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna invite me up to Bill Guerin's
from behind us,
yeah, I went right to that.
Sneaky.
I went right up to that Keurig.
The first thing he did.
You're sneaky.
Yeah.
And not only is the Evison story, at least the part I've read of it, good, but the Brock Faber sophomore slump story, and I read the full story. Multiple quotes from Quinn. Well, you just texted me about the Evison bit this morning, so trying to read while driving's not going to work. But when I got into the early stages of it, I'm like, damn, this is going to be meaty, and it turns out it was. Now the sophomore slump story with extensive quotes from Quinn Hughes. You start off with a quote from Nathan McKinnon. Connor Bedard is mentioned in there, and I just I can't remember if it was Hughes or whomever said that don't forget, statistically, you can't necessarily measure a second season or a season strictly statistically. And for those who missed it, what was in that one?
One reason. So I got to sit down with Nathan McKinnon and Quinn Hughes at the NHL Media Tour in early September. The same tour that I talked to Johnny Gaudreau at last year. That's the cool part of my job at The Athletic is I get to go to Europe and Vegas for these media tours and get to sit down with 30-some-odd players each tour. And I really wanted to ask Quinn Hughes and Nathan McKinnon about sophomore slumps because both of them had significant ones. And if you remember, Nathan McKinnon won the Calder his rookie year, and then the next year really struggled. Actually, struggled for a couple years, 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
And then Quinn Hughes.
You look at McKinnon, you're like, how?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, how is there any struggle?
Exactly. And then he really found the commitment to, the guy puts nothing. He eats like cardboard. And then Quinn Hughes also had an unbelievable rookie year. Finished Calder runner-up only because McCarr was in the same year, but actually led all rookies in points that year. And then the second year really struggled. It was the COVID year.
Right.
He explained, but he said, with defensemen, you can't, whether he has 25 points this year or 65 points this year, what Brock Faber's, and he thinks the world of Brock, by the way. What Brock Faber has got to concentrate on is not that you need to have this great sophomore season, is that this is part of you building year 2 to year 3 to year 4 to then becoming the player that Quinn Hughes was last year at age 24 when he won the Norris Trophy. So, and I think Brock Faber, to me, I wrote the story because mostly to try to just come up with a different take on another, I've written 50 Brock Faber features since he's been in the league already.
Yeah, but this was different.
And the reason why I wrote it is because I think that this guy is going to be immune to it because of one, that he is such an offensive and defensive guy that you don't have to just judge him on points. Mm-hmm. But I just think, watching him throughout this preseason, if he is healthy, he is going to have an unbelievable season. I watched him those 2 games against Chicago, and I know it's Chicago, and Chicago's D-zone is beyond belief brutal, and they don't think about defense and anything like that. But he is such a beast defensively, but then offensively, it's just, right now, it seems like he's got such confidence that he's willing to join the rush and lead the attack, even as we saw in his breakaway goal in Chicago. He's just such a phenomenal player, this is one of those contracts. I know some Wild fans, when I was writing all year that he was going to get $8-9 million a year, and he eventually got $8.5, that they were like, are you really going to give this second-year player this type of money? This contract is going to age like an incredible bottle of wine. He is, especially where defense contracts are going right now. Mm-hmm. His same agent is Cale McCarr's agent, and Cale on his next contract is going to get 12 or 13, I think. Mm-hmm. And so from Faber's making 8.5 in 6 years, oh my God, Bill Guerin's going to look like a genius.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Russo, you and Joe Smith have been covering, you just put out an exclusive that you had with Craig Leopold. Mm-hmm. So all of the things that are piling into this season, one thing that hit me yesterday, Brett was producing with me, and he filled me in towards the end of the show.
Bet.
This 5-year plan thing, What's up with the 5-year plan? Which year is this Minnesota Wild team in? People were already kind of sweating and looking forward to that cap clomp falling off after this year. But apparently there's a 5-year plan, and we're in the thick of it.
Nordo thought the story was poorly constructed.
Brett,
much better constructed than the question was.
Brett texted me as well. I think I'm going to ask Brett from now on to send all texts meant for me first to you and Max, and have you guys vet it, and then decide if you can send it to me.
And bring me a quilt.
Anyway, I mean, that's the one thing is we talked to Craig Leopold, and the story was meant originally to write, original pitch that we had, or was pitched to us from our editors, was this organization, this Hockey Mad organization, 24 years, that are at this crossroads season. They've never really been serious contenders, as Bill Guerin admits in that story. But yet, you got to re-sign Kirill Kaprizov, who, again, I saw last night having dinner with his agent. You got to re-sign Kirill Kaprizov. You've got, all this stuff building here, coupled with the Parisian and Suter cap hits coming off. There was a lot of belief, including from me, that when they bought out Parisian Suter, that year 4, that they were going to sort of ascend to being the serious contender. But when you look at the team right now, their kids aren't really here yet, ready to make that next step, unless you're talking about their really quality 23-year-olds like Rossi and Boldy and Faber. But some of those prospects, and so, where is this organization going? But then we got Craig on the phone, and what Craig was telling us is look, we know that right now we are not next year going to be able to tell people without looking like fools that we are a true Stanley Cup contender. But what we have, and he verbalized it for the first time, is for the first time last year when they realized how hard it really was going to be to operate with $14.7 million in cap space down the drain, that we have to come up with a really serious plan to, by year 5, become a Stanley, not just a contender, win the Cup. And so that's what they're in. And so what he basically said is that they're in year 2 of this plan. By the end of this year, they want to see if Wallstedt and Ogren and Husadinov could be part of this team going forward. And now, in a lot of ways, to me, some of these 3 or 4 years extensions actually make more sense. Because for all the time of the context of me kind of critiquing why you bring back Foligno, why you bring back Hartman, why
all the bits a year ago before the season
stuff.
and no
like
flexibility.
Now what you get is that they're sort of stopgaps to be part of this culture to get to year 4, essentially.
Okay.
And which is 4 years from now. So we're year 2 of the 5-year plan. We'll see if they punt it, move the goalposts again. But that's sort of what the story is. And so, and then we really get into Kaprizov. And look, I mean, I know Wild fans are already tired of hearing it. They're getting manic over it.
They're getting worried.
But look, when you have a superstar that's unsigned, and this is not unique to this market. This happened in Boston with David Pastrnak. It happened in Vancouver with Elias Pettersson. It happened in Edmonton with Leon Draisaitl. You're always going to have this nervousness, and the reality is that he wants to win. When he signs that extension, he's 29. This is no normal year 5 player that's 23 years old. He came here so late that you have to make sure that if you're going to give him an 8-year deal, that he knows that they're going to win.
Lastly, you've covered the beautiful game for 3 decades. So via your discernment, my belief is you know what a playoff team looks and or feels like. And if the right components staying healthy, clearly, does this feel like a playoff team?
I'm telling you right now that if they're healthy, they're a playoff team.
Right.
Like, I think they're going to get better goaltending this year. And to me, what derailed them last year was goaltending and health. And if they're healthy, they are a playoff team. I'm telling you, I watched Colorado last night. I picked Colorado to be a wild card team and the Wild to finish 3rd in the division.
Wow.
In our athletic stuff and on my podcast as well with LaPanta.
Out there getting beat 8-0.
Last night they just showed. They got beat 8-4 last night, and they showed me right away why I did it. They have no depth from their bottom 9, other than Middlestat, until Nichushkin comes back.
Yeah, Casey?
And they are a one-line team. So if like McKinnon, Makar, or Rantanen get hurt, look out. So I don't like them. I think they're going to take a step back. Winnipeg, I know, spanked Edmonton last night 6-0. I see them taking a little step back.
Yeah.
And so I really think that if you actually look at the Wild on paper, that they have a lot of really good players. And right now, I like the way the lines fit. And again, health is going to be integral. I mean, that's just the reality of pro sports and especially in this sport.
Thanks for the chat, my brother. Yep. We look forward to doing it more frequently if you have time, okay?
Yep, absolutely.
Right here.
See ya. I'm filling in for you tomorrow.
That's
9
right.
to noon.
Michael Russo, 9 to noon for the Friday forechecking feast.
Yes.
Then yours truly back on Monday, and we go to full strength. Always were. That's debatable. From Tria Rink, you're listening to opening day coverage of the Minnesota Wild game this evening, 7 o'clock KFAN against CBJ, your Columbus Blue Jackets, coached by Dean Evison. And we will continue that conversation. You can hear the sounds of hockey behind us as the Minnesota Wild are negotiating their morning skate. Norder produces. I'm Paul Allen. Be right back.
And real quick before we go to break, the fan and 2 men in a truck want to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword check at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That's keyword check. Enter it now at KFAN.com. Stick around following every noon Vikings game this season for Vikings Overtime, hosted by Paul Meat Sauce Lambert, presented by Park Chrysler Jeep in Burnsville. Catch them all right here on KFAN and on the free, that's right, FREE, iHeartRadio app.
Okay, so Bill Guerin, general manager of the Minnesota Wild, could be joining us soon. Alex Stalock, former Wild goalie, will be joining us probably in the next 25 minutes. And your favorite hockey team, the beloved Christmas colors, out on the ice right now at the Tria Rink, going through the morning skate, just buzzing along like kids at a time. To add to what we presented beginning an hour ago with Vikes Bites about who is it they say Sam is, and that's from a Viking standpoint with Sam Darnold, that's not a question anybody asked after the Giants game. Okay, into the Giants game, it was a lot. Who as they say he is? Okay, well, he's that. There'd be a large contingent, specifically nationally, who would say he's that jittery, inconsistent quarterback with the Jets or the Carolina Panthers. But then he goes out and wins September NFC Offensive Player of the Month, and then we get to the bye 5-0, which is the A topic, and more analyzing on that coming up a little later as. Bill Guerin, general manager for the Minnesota Wild, joins us here. I just got a general managerial side squeeze in. I just went in for it, and he laughed.
Is that another heater?
Well, see, okay, everything's going pear-shaped, okay? Hopefully the game tonight goes better than this operation at this moment. Here, and it has nothing to do with Miko Nordo. We're in the GM's box.
Yeah.
We're on his perch.
We're currently using his personal space heater.
So, all right, 3-2. Yeah, you're on live. No, we're recording. Ready? Right. 3, 2. Good seeing you.
Good seeing you, too.
And God bless you. God bless you and your family, okay?
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
So now, all right, 3-2. So thank you for having us in your home.
Yeah.
The perch is the bomb. I mean,
Isn't this great?
Well, it's unbelievable, but I found Bill Guerin's personal heater.
Yes.
And when I got intel for a second, because of your meeting coming up or whatever, that there may be no Billy G, I put the heater in play right on the legs of producer and yours.
The heaters, and you missed the
heater's unbelievable.
Underneath. These are heaters,
what?
too. Yes, I just flipped them on for you.
Well, if they're heaters, then why are they covered?
They're not covered. That's the actual heater.
What?
Yes, that white
panel?
Yes, that gets hot.
Wow.
Warm.
Okay, well, maybe you can help us with this because you're a learned general manager. Is it because Tree or Rink is so much smaller than XL Energy Center? Is that why it feels like it's 22 degrees? Because like the X for morning skate, we're feeling 50, 55, 60. I mean, it's unbelievably cold in here.
Yeah,
or would you disagree?
Well, come here in February.
And then we got 2 Billy Guerin heaters.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know
your
what?
Your heater's unbelievable. It's the Cadillac of
heaters.
It works
great. That was a gift. That was a gift from our training staff. They know their general manager is soft when it comes to the cold.
Good thing it's not a gift from the owner because, if you at any stage happen to be just having like a little insecure moment, like, what, is this a parting gift? Am I gone? I mean, what's going on?
The gift from the owner will be when we enclose this with glass.
All right.
And then we can keep the heat in, and then we can just open the doors up. I'm expecting that maybe for Christmas.
Yeah. Hey,
maybe.
Okay, well, why morning skates at Tree or Rink? And if this is going to be permanent, I when I crafted this yesterday, that was before.
I know you don't like this.
Well, no, I love it. No.
Okay, you do.
Oh, no, I love it. I love it. But informed differently. Well, who's talking about me?
We'll talk off camera.
And I'm flattered that they're thinking about me when I'm not around. But what are you talking about? Box in the box at XL Energy Center. We're going to get in the weeds on this quickly, okay? It started back in 08, 09, and KFAN didn't even carry the Wild, okay? So we would go out there and do shows. Well, we got the hole in the penalty box glass, okay?
Yep.
So then I would tape up a $100 bill when the adversary was out there, the opponent, and it was called Distraction Factor Radio.
Right.
So we're going to distract them during the morning skate to try to help your squad, their squad win. I mean, members of the Winnipeg Jets, they'd line up for it. There are players, Anze Kopitar thought it was the coolest thing he had ever seen.
Absolutely.
He just flipped it through the hole twice. I had to give him $200.
Yeah.
So I'm paying, I'm paying my debts on this thing.
Absolutely.
Well, then a couple of years ago, Ryan Donato, might not have been super happy. He was no longer a member of the team. He's with San Jose, but he knows about the box in the box, distraction factor penalty box hole. I mean, he unfurls a couple of Guerins, a couple of Brian Ralstons, and hit the glass. Well, crack the glass. Okay, 9 to noon, didn't know the glass was cracked. Your team's playing that evening. Operations learns an hour before the game, we got a problem with this glass, and they had to replace it.
Geez.
Well, that was the end of it. That means no more cartoon character with the hole and the signs and the $100.
Yeah.
No, it was
more fun.
No more, right.
No more fun.
So we came out last year and we did it, because we love you, and we kind of took one for the team a little bit last year.
Yeah.
But I love this, given you're going to make available your perch every single time we come out here.
100%.
We're so close to the action. This is awesome, Bill.
Yeah, it's a nice view. Listen, we have one of the top practice facilities in the National
Who the
Hockey
hell
League.
said that I wasn't happy about coming out here?
We'll talk about that
We need
later.
to make it public so they can be called out for talking behind people's backs.
I saw some people walking on eggshells.
I'm not mentioning Aaron Sickman's name on live.
I understand.
But this is recorded, so we can edit that out.
Yeah, we're going to play this back later.
No, we have one of the top practice
This is
facilities
awesome.
in the NHL.
Yeah.
And you know what? The X, as much as we love it, it's not up to. It's not at this level. We need to get it.
How old is this? 5 years? 5,
this is
6?
6 years.
Okay.
Now? 7 years?
It's like the question's not even in play because I got here early. Sicky walked me through downstairs where I'm seeing like the whirlpools and the lounge and and I'm like, damn,
the gym,
the amenities here, which it's not just of this age of
the food option.
Is it really good?
It's amazing.
Well,
Our
they have
chefs-
multiple
our chefs
coffee
are-
types.
Tons of coffee types.
Yeah.
KZ Provisions. They do all our in-house cooking. Our chefs here are amazing. They spoil the heck out of us.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it too, because you know what, the guys come in, they get breakfast. You know what, they come out for their skate, they get their work done.
Yep.
They get prepped for the game. Their meetings are done. Then they can have their pregame meal here as well.
Yeah.
And get home sooner. A lot of guys would go home and eat, which
Wow.
is fine. A lot of guys would go to restaurants, and that's fine. But they get home later. This way, we think we're going to maximize their nutrition with the
100%.
food that we give them, and then their rest time because they'll get home a lot earlier.
It took me 8 seconds to figure out why because I couldn't figure it out. It took me 8 seconds to figure out why you're here. Well, let's take it a step farther. I'm not trying to become an elite Gary Bettman mind or anything, but when you have players who are nicked up and like we would get there for Vox in the Box 8:30, 8:45. There they are skating around. I mean, now you can do it at any hour, at any time, right? So I mean that. Yeah, the ice time.
No, this is state of the art, and you know what? One of these days we need Excel to be brought up to that standard, and one of these days we'll get it done. But as of right now, why wouldn't we use this more? Any chance we get.
What do you think of the squad into the game tonight? Like off training camp, preseason. What do you think?
Honestly, I've been very happy with camp. Everybody's been saying how hard it was. Cry me a river. But John's been very clear in his messaging.
Yeah.
The guys have all bought in. The players they've embraced the difficulty of camp. It's been difficult physically and mentally. He's pushed them, but it's just to get them ready for the grind that we're about to start tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all in the details. It's in the details of how we operate every single day, every practice, every game, every meal, everything. It's all in the details. And if we take, if we're a detailed team, the players buying in, continue to do that, then we'll take the results. But they look great. They're excited. They're healthy. And that's a good thing.
Has Fleury lost weight?
I don't think he had weight to lose.
Kraft?
I don't think he could afford
Really?
to.
Wow, I was looking at him down there. His face, like the cheekbones are a little more pronounced.
He looks a little fat. Looks a little chubby.
Yeah, can't wait to watch him tonight. Right?
No, he's got nothing to lose.
Yeah. Okay. He's a handsome man. I was just noticing the cheekbones seem to be a little more pronounced.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe into his final season he crafted his body and nutrition and stuff.
He's a machine. Honestly,
is he?
Yeah.
Bill Guerin.
He had a mentor back in 08, 09.
Who was it? Bernie Wolf?
No.
Oh, I got you with that name, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, here's the deal. I'm growing up in Washington, D.C., single mom. She would take me, Lucius Tisdale, Miles Spires, and Eric Wainwright to one event a month. It would either be the Capitals, the Bullets, Ringling Brothers, Barnum Bailey Circus, or Dusty Rhodes' The American Dream with wrestling. Well, Caps games were my favorite, and Bernie Wolf was our goaltender. I was there when Jim Craig, after he won the Olympics, he's playing for the Atlanta Flames. His first road game was at the Capitol Center. I was at that game. And I think we beat him with Bernie Wolf and
Lansdowne, Maryland?
Landover.
Landover, Maryland.
Yep.
Yeah.
And remember when you would drive up to it with buses, it kind of looked like a shoe or a Pringle?
It's like the Saddle Dome.
Yes. Is it?
Yeah.
I've never been to the Saddle Dome.
Yeah, same.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was a great building. I remember we played in the playoffs there a couple times.
Yeah.
It would get so hot.
Against Bank Gustafsson. Or is that dating you?
He was before me.
Yeah. See, you were a modern-day Guy Cherron.
Yeah. But the Caps back in the day, they had 5 defensemen that scored 20 goals.
Oh, wow.
They had Kevin Hatcher, Sylvain Cote.
Wow.
Whoa,
how do we get that?
Sergei Gonchar. Maybe Gonchar.
And our blue line's
I don't
good.
think Gonchar was there yet.
Who?
Oh, I forget. Sergei Gonchar.
No, you're thinking.
No, Ally Frady.
Yeah.
I forget who they were. The Swedish guy. God, he was so good.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I mean, my mom took me to an event, and I met Dennis Marouk. And I was freaked out by the Fu Manchu. Yeah, I think he had just come over from the North Stars, like traded or something.
Really?
And Dennis Marouk, was I met him and got his autograph and everything.
Wow.
Met Guy Sharon, player named Blair Stewart, who was kind of a tough guy. And Bernie Wolf. I knew I got you with that name, Bernie Wolf,
you
because
did,
your mind was just going.
Yeah.
All right, you got a meeting coming up.
I played against
Don
Beaupre, who's a local guy, and his son is our E-Bug.
Yes.
Connor's our E-Bug. I played against Donnie there.
Have you ever thought of this when it comes to, like, conceptualizing something or sports? Like, because since we're down memory lane we go, we're chatting old school stuff here. It's like, let's consider football, okay? Like, who was the first to come up with the idea to have the freaking goalpost in the middle of the end zone or at the front of the end zone? Okay, so then they moved it back. Yeah. But let's take it a step farther. When hockey was invented and pro leagues were starting, NHL was starting, who in the hell decided the goalie not having a mask was the right idea? How do you do that?
Everything evolves, right? And I think when you look back at the equipment back then, straight blades.
What's that mean? I mean, straight.
Guys didn't really lift the puck to the extent that they do today.
But say even one puck is lifted, that's $30,000 in dental work. In the 50s, when $30,000 was like $300,000.
Yeah, I know. You
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
I just don't understand how you can possibly come up with that idea with this frozen rubber bit flying at people, and we're going to have, of all people, this guy doesn't get a mask.
Like, you look at some of the old pictures of these great warrior goalies who have multiple scars.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
With me, it would have been one scar, and like, I got to put something over my face.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the NHL was invented by dentists.
I've been hit in the face with a puck.
Oh.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Well, I'm still amazed by those who, specifically in playoff games, but then specifically in the Stanley Cup Final, who slide in front of every puck. Just that is the ultimate sacrifice for the team. And, man, you could take some pucks in some bad spots.
It's an art.
Yeah.
It's an art.
Right.
And some guys are just really good at it.
And some guys don't have it.
Just willing to do it.
Right.
And that you need it.
Like, you think you ever saw the great Wayne Gretzky slide in front of a puck? That wasn't his bit.
No.
But
he had Charlie Huddy back there who would lay down in front of it and then zip it up to Wayne at the red line. He'd go in and score.
That's so great, that reference. Bill Guerin, president of hockey operations, general manager, Minnesota Wild. All right, we got to get serious here. We got a meeting coming up soon. So how does Marco Rossi look off last season, which was good, and you got him centering with Kaprizov and Zuccarello. Just like, what are you liking?
Yeah, I mean, he looks great. He's again, I think he's building off his previous year. I think he's got more confidence coming into this year and knows what he can do. And I think that's a good fit. Marco's a real highly intelligent hockey player. Great hockey sense. So I think with those guys, you got to be a good thinker. And I think that's why he's a good fit. He's like many other guys have had a good camp, and I think he's just ready to go. And I like the move with Ryan Hartman to put him in between Trennan and Foligno. That's a miserable line to play.
Is that
against.
The sandpaper line? Somebody called it Kevin Gore called it the sandpaper line. I'm like, first time I've ever heard that. It's an unbelievably good turn of phrase.
Yeah, that's a line where if I'm playing, I see those guys jump over the boards. I'm like, maybe we'll take this shift a little short, and we'll maybe the coach will put us out against someone else next time.
Hey, when you played, or from what you watch now as a general manager, it's not that I'm just learning about this, but I think it's been underrated with like my analysis in all sports. How much attention do you pay to like facial expressions and shoulders slumping and
tons?
Okay, right. Because I'm talking
language.
to O'Connell into certain games with the Vikings, and he'll point out some things privately to me, like this guy last game, third quarter, 5 minutes ago, take a peek at this. Well, the whole bench went down. And then all of a sudden they got outscored like 14. So it's even having people to watch body language and expressions of the other team, that's big, isn't it?
Oh, we watch it when the NHL team's playing, when I was playing, when we're scouting for amateur draft.
Wow.
Your body language says a lot about you.
Right.
Are you coming back to the bench after a bad shift? Are you slamming doors? Do you skate all the way to the bench, or do you stop at center ice and glide in?
Right.
Yeah, are your shoulders down? Do you look unhappy? Or there's good body language. You look for the complete opposite of that.
Yeah.
And I think it says a lot, and especially with the amateur draft, that's really important because they're young kids, and I think it tells.
Might not be able to get out of the habits.
They're 18 years old, right? But you can learn a lot more about just watching the way they are than or you could just learn a lot about them by watching their body language.
Okay, well, here's an outside of the covenant opinion from just looking at it in minimal fashion with Brock Faber. It's like there's a term I'll use called competitively arrogant. It's a compliment, okay? You're not arrogant like as a human. You just are like, hey, with all due respect, I believe I'm better than you. I'm going to do this. End of the game, we're going to shake hands, and we're going to move on. Mm-hmm. That's competitive arrogance. Like you played with him, man. You're really good at what you did. But like Faber, when I watch him, it doesn't change.
No.
Like the facial, nothing changes, which is good, right?
When I first came in the league and you saw the way like a Scott Stevens operated, then I'd kind of move. I was playing with other like stars, and when you're around guys like that, there's just it is a confidence and a presence.
Competitive arrogance.
Yes. And that, like when I played in the '96 World Cup, being around Chelios, Hull, Brian Leach, all these great players, like there's an air about them, like it is a super high level of confidence.
Yes,
and it's not fake, and it's what makes people great. And you have to have it. And when teammates would be struggling or whatever, I would tell them, you got to work on your confidence, and you know what? Sometimes you got to fake it.
Yeah.
And if you can fake your confidence long enough, you're going to start to believe it, and it'll help you get back into it.
Wow, that's how does one do that? You fake your confidence the wrong way, get your butt whooped on the ice.
Yeah, but that'll help you. That'll help you get it back anyways.
Wow, I love that. I love how
just getting in the fight.
I got to get this one in before you leave, because I liked it when I wrote it. How difficult is it balancing the budget with what you want and need compared to what you can afford?
Are you talking?
Was that a good question?
Yeah, it's a good question. But are you talking like just player wise or big picture wise?
Well, it has to be big picture because we got Prez of Hockey Ops.
Yeah,
on the cards, the whole thing.
There are so many things that go into budgeting, but I think when we give our first budget. You have to think of everything that you could possibly need and put it in there.
Right.
And then you kind of go through, okay, what do we absolutely need and what do we kind of need?
Yeah.
And the ones that we kind of need, do we kind of need it now or do we kind of need it a year from now? Because, look, this is not my money. This is Craig's money. This is a business. We have to be respectful of spending. But then there are things that you have to, Craig's fair. But then there's sometimes, he makes me work for it. You got to fight a little bit for it. But in the end, if you think it's really important, then you got to you got to step up but you can't just say, oh, we really need it. You have to have reasoning for it. You have to have what it's going to bring back to the organization.
Yep.
Why this is going to make us.
Do you put that together?
Why this is going to make us better?
Or do you give somebody PowerPoints and all that? Ugh.
No, Mike Murray does a lot of that for me with the finance.
Good.
With our finance group on the business side, and but I know what's going into it, and then I can, we take it step by step. Mike does a great job.
I have intel for you to close. You ready? Russo saw Kaprizov having dinner with his agent last night. What do you think? What do you think's happening there?
Funny how Mike just happened to be at that restaurant.
And how's he know that? Exactly right. Oh wait, did you plan him to get? Oh wow,
No,
you wouldn't plan him. Of course you didn't. He's a journalist. Doing a job. Wonder what they were talking about.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anything stirring with old Kirill?
Yeah, hopefully it's a couple goals tonight. That's about it.
Yes, sir. That'll be great. You are fantastic, man.
Yeah,
I love chatting with you. And we didn't even talk about Motley Crue, Metallica, Whitesnake, and Tesla.
You know what? I heard.
Maybe next time.
I was doing some of my new hobby the other day. This woodworking stuff that I'm starting.
Oh wow,
I love it.
Woodworking at home?
Yeah, it's
good
great.
for you.
I love it. So
you're sanding and doing the whole thing?
Yes, I bought every tool you can imagine.
Bob Villa up in this thing.
I have a drill press at home.
You do?
Yeah, I have a miter saw, circular saw.
Did that fit under the budget?
Yeah. Well, maybe not.
Yeah.
But I was listening the other day. You know what band was great too? Was the Scorpions.
Oh, well, you talk about big arena-type music.
Yeah.
Like with Foreigner, when they had those big arena sounds,
Oh,
what was Scorpions'
It was Wind of
Something
Change.
like a hurricane?
It was Wind of Change.
Me
And
like
that was
a hurricane. Was that them?
That was them.
Well, that song was massive.
Massive. But the song that came on
Winds of Change.
Winds of Change.
Well,
and
what
that
are you
was
thinking about? Leaving the job?
No,
having
it
an
was
emotional moment or something up in here?
It's such a great tune. And I remember that song. Certain songs trigger a memory.
Yeah.
Whatever. That song was big. I was 19 years old. And I went to the World Championships for a week. And that song was huge back then. And we were on this overnight cruise from Stockholm to Helsinki. And I don't know, that song was just always playing, and it was just such a great time.
So I know you have an 11 o'clock meeting, but the good news is you're president of hockey operations. So if you're 30 seconds late, it's acceptable. The woodworking, you kind of bit me a little bit here. Are we like carving crown molding?
No.
Are we putting crown molding in each room? What are you doing?
I'm building a table right now, a butcher block C table.
Oh wow!
To kind of go under the foot goes under the couch, and then the top goes over. And I'm learning through my mistakes.
Yeah. Well,
but that's fun.
You know what? It takes your mind off things like this, which is good because absence makes the heart grow fonder, and people in your position and coaches especially, they don't sleep enough and they think about it too much. I've just seen it in the NFL, and sometimes you just got to pull back a little bit, man. Hey, you're awesome.
Great to see you, buddy.
I appreciate you. We'll
Enjoy
see you
it
more
up here.
frequently, okay?
Yeah.
Bill Guerin, 9 to noon, KFAN.
See two of the biggest names in folk rock as they take the stage together. Don't miss out when the Avett Brothers and Trampled by Turtles co-headline XL Energy Center on October 24th. Tickets are still available for this incredible show. For more info and to get yours today, head over to KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Alex Stalock, how you been?
I've been really well. Thanks for inviting me back after a 4-year hiatus.
For sure, 4.5 years. Let's be accurate. The executive chef at XL Energy Center has joined us here at Trier Rink. For those of you who have forgotten, please state your name, sir, and exactly what you do for the Wild and/or XL Energy Center.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Kyle Bowles. I'm the executive chef at the XL Energy Center. Mm-hmm. We do all the food and beverage at the arena. And we take care of the team, and we love taking care of you guys, too.
Well, we're at Trier Rink. We're not at XL Energy
Correct.
Center. This is not Vox in the Box. It's Paulie on the Perch. Yet you've brought, what have you delivered to the radio show?
So we took the show on the road for you today. This is a first for us, a little off-site.
Wow.
Couple of new cool things we're doing in concessions. kind of getting in that state fair vibes. We're doing a pickle pizza. It's available on the main level in section 117. And in the tap house, where we've got a lot of kind of zany wing flavors. We've shown you a few over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Just wanted to show you a new one. It's a Kung Pao wing. So kind of like Kung Pao.
Does it have peanuts?
It does have peanuts.
Yes.
Some jalapenos, a nice kind of sweet, spicy sauce.
Yeah.
And I brought Chef Matt with me as well here, too.
Hey, Matt. Good to see you.
Nice to meet you, Matt.
Well, I mean, I feel bad saying goodbye to you. You came so far, I mean, right across the street to deliver this for us. We have nobody to distract, so we're just going to eat this and just take it. That's beautiful.
Yeah, they're going to validate your parking on the way back. Right?
Yes.
Where's the pickle pizza at the X?
Section 117, main level.
Right on.
Available to everybody. And thank you guys so much.
My brother.
I told them you can't get away from me. Even when
You
you're here.
are the best. Good to see you. My sources tell me, Alex Daylock.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Good to see you. Appreciate you. My sources tell me that a member of your child stable is celebrating a birthday today.
Correct.
Yeah, you're here.
Correct.
Why are you here?
Put
you right in the box out of the gate. I dropped the layoff in the box.
I dropped off at school. Nora wanted me here at 9 a.m., which would have meant an 8:15 leave from said house.
Yeah.
And
we haven't mentioned the house yet.
I got to celebrate a morning birthday with her and get her off to her lovely school, and the teacher screamed happy birthday when she walked in. So.
Is Simon already skating with like Afton High School or White Bear or whatever? I mean, like how far along is Simon in his developing hockey career?
Simon's first year squirt at Stillwater, so it's an exciting time for any hockey parent. You're finally in squirt hockey. Might seems like it goes forever.
Really?
Yeah, I mean you're in it for 4 years,
right?
And it just seems never ending. And then when you finally get through it, you kind of get the real hockey. And first year squirt, out of town hockey tournaments. You start making friends with second year players. It's not only your group of friends, so you got older kids on the team and new parents. And we're excited. We are looks like we're headed to Fargo for an out of town tournament this year. So
wow,
big for the kids.
Okay, well is that during the hockey season?
Yeah,
well, it can't conflict with
I think it's
West Coast hockey analysis.
End of the year. Yes, correct. You're right about that. There might be a little bit of overlap, but then again,
where do the Sharks play? It's not the Shark Tank anymore. HP something.
HP Pavilion. It could have changed by now.
You are looking live at HP Pavilion with this Vox and this analyst. Alex Staylock.
Dan Rusanowski.
Is it Rusanowski?
Dan Rusanowski.
Oh, I've heard him call games. He's good.
Yeah, he's been there, I want to say day one.
Wow.
He's been there forever. HOF.
Yeah. I'll get to be a snob a little bit, like after, say, a Vikings game ends at 3. And after locker room and all that, leave like 3:45, 4 o'clock. Well, when I drive, I'll try to listen to like other Voxes from other teams, on the radio, just to hear what they sound like, listen to the game or whatever. When I get a chance to do that in the evening with the NHL,
West Coast time too.
Well, it right, but
9 p.m. start Central.
Some of these Canadian Voxes, I don't know their names. Like my guy in Ottawa, Ottawa. He's unbelievable. It's the Vancouver Vox. I'm not saying that United States radio Voxes aren't that good. They are. It's just a different level when you get to some of these Canadian radio guys.
Oh, they're unbelievable. Yeah, the Canadian market, even the TV. You go up there and you stay in a hotel when you're on the road. It's nonstop hockey. Where here, if it's NFL season, all it is NFL Live, NFL Today. It's just up there, it's NHL.
Yeah.
Now, I've been really lucky the last 2 stops. I've been, like you mentioned, Chicago, and last year being in San Diego. In Chicago, I got to listen to a lot of the Coom Dog, Ron Coomer, who's on radio with the Cubs. Huge Cubs fan for my time there. And then I was in San Diego, and I turned on college basketball. I never watched a ton of college basketball. I had Bill Walton at night.
Dave
all
Pash.
throughout. It was unbelievable.
Dave Pash, the Vox. He's the
granted their TV, but it was awesome.
What were you doing in San Diego?
San Diego, I was trying to play hockey. They only threw me in for 8 to 10 games throughout the year. They weren't happy with the 36-year-old goaltender how I was playing. But
I should know this. So that's like Anaheim's farm bid or whatever?
Correct, yes.
Okay,
American League team of the Anaheim Ducks.
So were you thinking about living in Newport Beach for a little bit, maybe right next to David Backus?
I was thinking about till maybe day 6 of training camp with Anaheim, and I knew I was destined for San Diego at that point.
Yeah. But, I mean, what if you're going to execute your toil, whether you're trying to get back, whether you're trying to do whatever you're trying to do, what an unbelievable place to do it. Is it the Gulls?
They get the Gulls, correct.
Are they still the Gulls?
They're still the Gulls. Yeah, so they've been.
Cow.
Yeah, they're. They might have changed organizations or what it may be, but Anaheim's been with them for years now, and for any young player to end up in San Diego, California, trying to perfect his hockey craft is
right.
Not a bad spot to be relegated.
Yes, you got to be focused because you got the beach, you got the Padres.
Same thing with the Anaheimers.
Correct.
Same thing with the Ducks, I would think. You got the 57. Okay, so there it is, kind of by where the Angels play.
Yep.
You got Disneyland. You got Knott's Berry Farm. You head farther south, and then Balboa Beach, Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, down to Laguna. Lots of distractions there, Alexander.
Very much so, and it takes a little time. You move into new city and you're trying to figure out your surroundings. Everybody talks about how great San Diego is.
Did you just throw a little fit or have a little twitch there? What happened?
And I'm watching Fleury and I'm like,
wow,
he's going to be 40.
Goalie move.
He's going to be 40 this year, and I'm like, gosh, I'm still playing knee hockey with Simon, and when I get up after 10 minutes, I have to get up against the wall. But no, it's you want to figure out where you want to live, and do you want to live on the beach? And do you want to live downtown?
It's pretty inexpensive out there too.
That again. So for entry level players, I feel bad when you're living 12 in a house, to get by. But it was a great place to play hockey. We had a great group of guys, and. Yeah, it was a good way to end.
All right, hang out for a second. We're going to pause. Alex Stalock, longtime goalie in the NHL. Duluth Bulldogs go crazy. Likewise for South St. Paul and Minnesota Wild fans. He's now retired. He's doing some wonderful work in the NHL. That's forthcoming. He's a father and obviously a husband. And we're going to chat, do a covenant catch up with Alex Stalock when 9 to noon continues. But first, Max has this.
Yes, sir. PA, the fan, and 2 men and a truck want to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword deposit at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That's keyword deposit. Enter it now at KFAN.